Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Well, what's a great candidate for your only watch? It would have to be versatile, business suit or bathing suit, water resistant, and loomed so you could use it at night. You'd want to have complications that you could use frequently, perhaps a calendar function, perhaps a chronograph, and automatic winding for convenience would be ideal. Is there one watch that combines all of that? Well, there is. It's sitting on my wrist, 38mm in stainless steel. It's the Blancpain Leman Perpetual Calendar flyback chronograph. You can see and you can purchase this extraordinary master of all trades. Yes, it is a master of all traits, all tasks, all skills and virtues, and buy it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to buy this wonderfully complicated and compact timepiece. See additional accessories included in the sale, and of course view pricing details for this and our entire collection of pre-owned Blancpain timepieces. Now there's that old saw that someone is a jack of all trades and a master of none. This is a jack of all trades and a master of every single one. A timepiece that has virtuosity in styling and complication, as well as the ability to be worn discreetly just about anywhere. It's incredibly endearing to those of us who prefer to pay for watchmaking rather than precious metal. Steel is real, and 38mm across the round of the case, not including crown guard, crown, or chronograph pushers. This is an easy watch to wear on my small wrist. 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see I've got plenty of clearance on both sides of this watch. Even with the solid links of the Blancpain X71 bracelet, this one fits my wrist perfectly, and I would endorse this watch on the bracelet for wrists down to as small as, I would even say 13 to 13.5 centimeters in circumference. It is that comfortable and the fit is that good. Now it does have a little bit of a pot-bellied profile to it, being relatively short. It's got a squat aspect ratio, 13.8mm thick, though it's not that thick in an absolute sense, and the double guerdron, double-stepped bezel means almost any sleeve can slide up and over this one. Just like a ramp, your cuff will simply run up over the watch. Now from lug to lug, and this watch is an excellent candidate to be placed on a strap for style's sake, but from lug to lug, if you're actually measuring the case, the watch is 44mm from lug to lug. If you measure the solid end links of the bracelet, which extended just a little bit further, it has a more robust 48.5mm lug to lug span. So this is a watch that wears well on the bracelet and can wear well even on exceptionally petite wrists if fitted to a strap of some kind. The bracelet, though, is so endearing, it's hard to imagine removing it. Again, if you want a watch that can do it all, a watch that's your one and only, it helps to have it on a bracelet, because bracelets will give you better value over time. You don't have that $200 to $400 replacement cost every 2 to 4 years. Moreover, the X71 is one of the best in the business. Now, most folks have seen it occasionally on a 50 fathoms, but it's rarely seen on the Le Mans models. It is a, I would say, 3-section design. It's not a 3-link design because it's actually a little bit more complicated than that, but you can see how there are actually large satin finished center links and then flanking links that work in almost a male-female interlock, so that there's really no gap between the individual outer links, but the center links have channels that allow heat to escape, oils, moisture, grit. It can all get out on a hot day, and yet the manufacturing tolerances are so lock and key that it feels like something that's aerospace grade rather than luxury jewelry. Not that this is jewelry, but it's certainly of that caliber in terms of its finish and its presentation. Polished on the flanks, satin finished on the main members, polished on the individual intermediate links. It also has broad channels between the links to avoid pinching skin and pulling hair, and in contrast to Patek, and I always have to shame them when I talk about sizing a bracelet, no pins and sleeves, but screws the way it should be. Double deployant, you can see this one closes and maintains a low profile when it is secured. The only partition point is the Blancpain logo, and the clasp itself is nicely curved to match the underside of the wrist. It's a handsome bracelet, and it matches the watch well. Sometimes when you have a smaller watch, a bracelet can appear visually overwhelming, almost like the watch is hooked up to too much mass, like it needs a pared down strap of some kind. This is actually a good fit. The bracelet's not so imposing that it looks almost outscale for the watch. It's nicely matched. It's a perfect tandem. And the watch itself holds its own with relatively strong case volumes. As you can see, all of high polish. It looks a little bit bigger than it is. It has presence. High polished steel will do that. Gleaming metal always has a lot of presence. And with the double guerdron bezel, the watch has a little bit of muscularity and volume volume to it. Now, the dial itself is simplicity. It's large Arabic numerals in light coloration with luminova on top of a black base. That's if you just want to read the time, and the broadsword hands make that wonderfully easy. We can get a little bit closer now that the watch isn't on my wrist, and we can improve the focus a bit. Okay, so now the dial, short of telling time, the dial does offer an immense amount of information. You have coaxial indicators at 12 o'clock for the month and the leap year cycle indicator. You have chronograph hours and the day of the week at 9 o'clock. You can see that you have chronograph minutes and a radial date at 3 o'clock, and then you have chronograph seconds at center and a moon phase display crescent style at 6 o'clock. There is a lot going on this dial, no doubt. All of that said, you do get used to it, and once you're familiar with the watch, it's all available at a glance. Now, there is one hidden functionality. I'm going to screw out the small pusher at 4 o'clock. There is a hidden functionality here. You know about the perpetual calendar, you know about the chronograph, you know about the moon phase, but did you realize that the chronograph is a flyback? That's right, it is a flyback chronograph perpetual calendar. All of that on a single watch of 38 millimeters, and thanks to those screw-down chronograph pushers and crown, as well as a screwed-in caseback, this watch boasts 100-meter water resistance, so that's real-world, fun-in-the-sun, splish-and-splash water resistance for everything short of diving. You'll also note that the caliber is beautiful. Blancpain caliber F585, it's based on the F185 flyback variant of the Frédéric Piguet 1185, Frédéric Piguet being Blancpain's movement manufacturer partner. Today, Frédéric Piguet is actually called manufacturer Blancpain, and you can see the column wheel cycling. You can also see that it's crenellated towers as well as the screw fixing it at center have been black polished, and the standard of finish is very, very good. I would go so far as to say it's of the same standard that you'll find on contemporary Audemars Piguet, and I think that's an excellent comparison as the two manufacturers are actually quite close to each other in terms of Swiss geography. They're both of Vallée de Joux finishing traditions. Linear Côte de Genève beautifully textured across the winding mass. The winding mass has a gorgeous anglage to its edge, and you'll note that is true Côte de Genève. Laid down with an abrasive wheel, you can tell because of the richly textured flanks that become lighter as they move from side to side. Côte de Genève should not just be channels, they should be darker on one side and lighter on the other, and that is here, present and correct. You'll also note the same treatment on the bridges, or at least the winding bridge. Beneath that, a engine-turned perlage on substructures, a few black polished screws for good measure. The watch, automatic winding and unidirectional in its action, has a 40-hour power reserve, and the balance beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. That is a true high horology movement. Automatic, hand finish, flyback chronograph, perpetual calendar, and moon phase. All of this in a 38mm case, 35 jewels, and adjusted in a chronometer like 5 positions. Not only does it have the column wheel for crisp actuation, but it also has a vertical clutch. The vertical clutch providing smooth engagement. There's no jump in the seconds hand when you start a vertical clutch, and because there's also no play between teeth, there are no teeth to mesh in the mechanism. Unlike a lateral clutch, you can just leave the chronograph running full time. So if you prefer to just have a large continuous seconds hand at center, leave it running. There's no additional wear and tear, nor is there a shortened maintenance interval. You can do that with a vertical clutch. This is a watch that hits on all cylinders. It looks great, it feels great, it wears well on a huge range of wrists. You can get it wet, you can wear it for formal occasions. It has a chronograph, it has a moon phase, it has a flyback functionality. It even has a perpetual calendar which you can use to date emails, memos, and letters every day of the year. So whether you're writing letters to clients or billing hours in the office, Blancpain has the watch for you. See it and make it yours on our website. Okay, Blancpain Leman Perpetual Calendar Flyback Chronograph. As you can see, this is a watch that gives you a light show. Easy to read day or night with a fearsome, almost dive watch-like legibility when the lights go down. You can see this one in detail with full accessories by the light of day on our website.